What's that? Good afternoon and welcome to our regular council meeting for May 15th, 2023. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and the oral practices of the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Métis Nation, Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. We are making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. Moved by Councillor Idris that the agenda be adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the minutes from the regular council meeting held May 1st, 2023 be approved. Any errors or omissions? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Jessica that the April 2023 RCMP report be accepted as information. Sergeant Searle, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Thank you, sir. Good. Thanks for having me. Just my report for April. We responded to 396 municipal calls for service. We lodged 29 prisoners, and there were 150 municipal criminal record checks completed, and 49 tickets were issued within the city. Some various calls from April. On the 11th, we responded to an alarm at the Brooks Composite High School. We attended and found a man in the gym, hiding in the gym. He was arrested for break and enter and charged. And on the 18th, we received a complaint of a stolen vehicle from the parking lot of the JBS Center. We attended, and through the video that they had, we were able to identify the suspect. We located the male and the vehicle shortly afterwards. He was charged as well. Just a side note, both of these people we deal with quite frequently and responsible for a higher percentage of the crime within the community. On the 22nd, members were at the Brooks Hotel attempting to break up a bar fight. During that, one of our members was attacked, uninjured, but two of the males were arrested for causing a disturbance, and the third was charged with assaulting a police officer. Some stuff to report. Our Health IM app is out and rolling. I talked about that a few months ago. We started using it on April 26th, and so really what that is it's an app on our phones that the police have access to, and it's essentially a tool to support members when they're on mental health calls. It keeps history of the people that they're dealing with on these calls and allows us to make better judgments when deciding, the steps that we need to take with them and support services and whatnot. So we haven't been using it too long, but the initial feedback seems like it's working and it's good. We're happy with it. Staffing, we're very excited. We're getting a lateral entry member. It's a 25-year member from another large municipal police force, and I've spoke to some of his peers, and he's very highly reported on, so we're looking forward to getting him, and I believe he'll be coming at the end of June. We've completed the reclassification of our second general investigation section position, and they're staffing it right now, so hopefully we can get that filled in the next few months. Community standards, I did have an opportunity to speak to Ms. Peterson a few weeks ago about this, but I figured I'd address it with council. We've been having, us as police have been having some issues which we've observed, and we've had feedback from the community on, essentially it comes down to loitering. There's been some issues around some of the grocery stores. We're finding people in public spaces, in laundry rooms in apartment buildings, at 3 o'clock in the morning, people gathering at the laundry mats in town that are open 24 hours a day and unstaffed, and really, like, they're causing a nuisance or hanging around in alleys behind businesses, near their doors, and really, like, we're getting calls, and there's not a whole lot of options we have as police if they're not breaking any laws, you know, particularly in a laundromat, you know, that's open 24 hours a day, or, you know, hanging out in the laundry room of an apartment building. Like, those people shouldn't be there, in my opinion, and we know that, but unless we have, you know, some authority from the place, the business, or from the apartment building, there's not a whole lot we can do as police to move those people along. And it's actually, I can give you a really good example of this. Over the weekend, my members were making patrols and passed by a laundromat in town that's open 24 hours, but it's not staffed. And they noticed there was a group of people in there, and went in, and, you know, none of them were doing any laundry. They were just hanging out, and, you know, my member asked them to move on, but whether they did or not, we can't make them. We don't represent the property. We can't force people to leave a public space. The member ended up leaving, and half an hour later, their window got broken by one of them. We did end up reviewing the video and laid charges, but it sure would be nice as police, you know, if someone shouldn't be somewhere, we'd like to be able to move them along, or at least have that option. So under the current bylaws in town, there's nothing that really addresses loitering, and we would like council and the mayor to discuss that and perhaps implement a loitering bylaw. That's all I have.
The people that are loitering, are they from Brooks, and are they homeless?
Sometimes, I can't say they all are. Some are, some aren't. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Any
a lot
other
of the, you know, I haven't worked the night shifts in a while, but in my experience, most of them weren't homeless. They had places they could have been.
They were just hanging out somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, you know, whether you catch them at the time, maybe drinking or whatnot, you know, that's easy. We can stop that, but,
Yeah.
you know, if we show up and people are just there, it's really not a whole lot we can do, so.
Okay. Councillor, oh, sorry, Councillor Idris, yeah, I didn't see you.
Hi, thank you. I just didn't get the last portion of your report regarding the incident in the weekend. So you said what happened, and then the person was charged?
Yeah, so essentially the police were there. We made patrols and saw people gathered inside the business, tried to get them to move on, but I mean, we have no authority to remove someone from the public space, you know. It's pretty obvious to us that they had no business being there. They weren't doing laundry, they were just hanging out. So the member left, and I think it was about half an hour later, one of them smashed the front window out of the business. Again, we returned at that point, and were able to look at the video, and we laid charges, yeah.
Okay, Councillor, good enough? Oh, sorry. Councillor
Yeah,
Jessica,
so where are you starting to get the group or groups? Are there multiple groups? Is it a particular demographic? Is it kind of a youth needing something to do issue, or?
I wouldn't say it's a particular demographic at all. There's all walks of life that we're finding the loitering. I mean, the reason why I spoke to Ms. Peterson was with respect to the JBS Center. So, I mean, in that particular instance, it was with respect to some youth who were, I believe, vaping in the bathrooms. But it's just really another tool that the police can use to, you know, it's not a carte blanche to kick people out of being in a public space, but you know, with discretion, I think it can be very effective.
Councillor, good enough?
So just to follow up with that, I was thinking of a situation that happened at the Walmart parking lot. Now, because that's private property, could our bylaw work in our favor for that? Because I think there's quite a few groups that hang out in the back corner there. Some are stunting. Would that be then when it can be enforced? Then Walmart doesn't have to phone?
It certainly could. And
Yeah.
if that, you know, if it's good, because if that's an issue for Walmart, if they, you know, if they were to call us and say, like, we don't want people hanging out in our parking lot, and the bylaw covered private property off, then we could go remove them. And right now, like with some of the grocery stores, they're chasing these people down that they don't want around their businesses, and they're having to issue them trespass notice saying like you're barred from the premise for 6 months or a year or whatever. And you know, that will give us the authority to go in and tell them to leave. You're trespassing. You've been told you're not welcome here. But it's a lot of work on the businesses to do that. A lot of the times they don't know who these people are. You know, they're trying to get that information from us, and sometimes we can't give it to them. Sometimes we can. But
Councillor Wardrop?
I apologize if you already addressed this, but what in your estimation is the cause of the increased loitering?
I don't even know that it is an increase. You know, if I've been in Brooks for 10 years, I've seen it since the first day I got here. It's just maybe the role I'm in now. I'm hearing a lot more of it from the public. But I honestly don't think there is an increase.
Okay.
Just think it's people are maybe voicing their concerns about it a lot more now.
Okay.
Councillor Goodenough?
If it's okay, I'd like to move on from this question, or from this line of thinking, just to your report. There were 21 files with spouse abuse from, in the survey code, brings 59 to date from 2022, or to date. I'm just curious in that, what's the measure of male to female? Because sometimes we read that, we assume it's a female gender, or what, you know.
As the victim?
As the victim, yeah. Maybe in the future, is it possible? Or maybe you can't, I don't know. But I'm just curious on that, so.
I honestly, I don't know. They're not all, the victim isn't always a female, but if that was a number you were interested in, I could see if I could pull it up.
Thank you.
Anything else? Just, Councillor Woodruff? Oh, no, okay, no. Just one thing about the loitering one. If we want to pursue that, where do we go there, Ellen? What's our next step on that?
Through the chair to mayor and council, I think what we would do is we'd look to see what some other communities have in place and then take some from there and tailor it to our current situation.
Okay.
They've probably already started that.
Yeah. Okay. If there's no other questions, that's what we'll, oh, did you have another question? Sorry, go ahead, Councillor. Yeah.
There is, just to the statistics for April and for the year to date, a really significant increase this year in disturbing the peace and also mischief. And I'm not sure if maybe I just didn't see that one last time, but could you speak to that? It was quite a striking number.
I can. It really comes back to our scoring, and mischief is tough because to me mischief was really property related damage to property. When we're doing our uniform crime reporting, so that's what captures statistics. If I go to a noise complaint, technically that should be scored as a mischief because we always score our files at the highest criminal code charge. But in the past, you can also score that as a bylaw for noise. So it's really hard to capture mischief because it really it's dependent on the members, current trends with members and how they score their files. And I actually have been looking at this for the past few months, and I've reached out to K Division to get some solid answers on what we should actually be scoring these as, because by policy, if I go to a noise complaint, it should be scored as a mischief. But to me, that doesn't really capture what it actually is, because it's just a bylaw. It's a noise bylaw, which we can also score that file as. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them, because to me, it would be easier for me as the detachment commander to then actually look and see, okay, mischiefs are actually on the rise, as opposed to trying to dissect whether this is a noise complaint or an actual mischief, you know, like the spray painting we were dealing with, or vandalism, things like that. Does that clear that up?
Oh, whoops, this is already, yes, it does. And the other one was the disturbing the peace. So there's already 48 this year, and the highest it's ever got was like 28 back in 2019. Yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah, I can't speak specifically to that one, but, I mean, that's another one too, that it's kind of one of those catch-alls for if someone deals with a file and they're trying to conclude it and they don't really know what to score it as, a lot of people revert to disturbing the peace because it encompasses so many things, right? Like, it can be, you know, a bar fight to yelling or whatever. So, I don't know if that's exactly why it's showing higher, but I would suspect that's probably why.
Councillor Goodenough?
All right, last one for me, I promise. I'm impressed. I know it says issue here, but for speeding violations at 37, almost double from last year, that's excellent. That we're catching these, or that we're stopping people or giving tickets out. So kudos to the team for doing that. I'd love to see that number higher. Just get on them. Thank you. Anyway.
Yeah, and I will speak to that, and that's, I mean, obviously, we don't want to see more speeding in town, but that's just a example of proactive policing. I know there's been a big push from the members to be out in the school zones this year, trying to get some of the speeds reduced there, so good on them, in my opinion.
Okay, Councillor Idris?
With those, the April 11 call, specifically actually in the person in the gym, is that a young person or an adult? And is it someone related to the school? Like, does he have anything to do with the school?
It's an adult.
It's an adult?
Yep.
Okay. Going back to the bylaw thing, and my suggestion would be actually, because there was some discussion also at the Safe Communities Committee that could be relevant. So maybe if we look at this and a few other things that could be added, because I think it would be good to, if we are going to review it, it would be good to look at other things that also could be.
Okay. Amanda made a note of that there, so, yeah, okay. Anything else? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, moved by Councillor Goodenough that the Brooks Street Rod Association presentation regarding their 2023 car show be accepted for information. Mr. Ross Dodson, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks for this opportunity. I'm the current president of the Brook Street Rod Association, Ross Dobson, and I just thought I'd like to take an opportunity to come and talk to you, as we haven't had a chance with the new council, to let you know what the club's doing and answer any questions you might have. So a little history of the club. We've been around for a long time. We were actually affiliated as a society in 2013. The show we're going to planning downtown this year is our 23rd annual. So we've been around a while. The show has bounced around quite a bit over the years, from the old IGA parking lot to downtown Brooks to the old rodeo grounds out to the CRA. Part of the issue we moved from the downtown Brooks originally is there were some logistical issues with some of the merchants. Thank you, Alan, for smiling at that. There's some logistical issues. And the CRA, from a car club perspective, was very clean. We had very little traffic control to worry about. We weren't dealing with merchants. We weren't dealing with public that didn't want us on the streets. So from that perspective, the CRA was a very easy car show for us to produce. The downside, of course, was it wasn't in Brooks. So downtown Brooks worked on us, and some executive change within the club, and we thought we'd come and take another run at having our car show downtown. And the approach we took, we got in touch with your recreation department, the city's recreation department, and they coordinated for us. We said we'd run the car show if downtown Brooks would look after talking to the merchants, if we could have the support of the town from their works department to help us set up the barriers and manage traffic. At that time also we worked with the farmers market. One of the issues from the previous attempts at having a show downtown was people were saying there was garbage left behind. So we took that as an opportunity, and we actually hired the Newell Band Association to do garbage patrol for us for the day. We've worked with BAPS in all of our locations, so they've either provided manpower for us, or they bring their barbecue and use it as an opportunity to promote themselves. So I'm glad to say that with your cooperation, we're downtown once again this year, and we're looking forward. Last year was our biggest show ever. 150 some cars came. So if 150 cars came, there was probably 300 plus people that came in those cars, plus all the foot traffic that was drawn downtown. So I think it was a very successful day for Brooks. And that's the most visible part, I think, of what the car club does. I'd like to highlight maybe some of the other things that you don't see every day. So we joined the Special Vehicle Association of Alberta a couple of years ago. And they're an affiliation of several car clubs. I believe the number's in the range of 55 or 60. And they represent our interests to the provincial government. So we thought it was key, just like every other form of policy nowadays. Old cars are under the microscope from a safety perspective, from an environmental perspective. Why do we have those cars on the road? So it's key for us to have a voice with the provincial government to let them know the things we're doing, the safety inspections we do. We do voluntary safety inspections on our units in the spring to make sure that they're ready for the road. So that type of thing, we're working through the SVAA, and they're working with the government. The other thing that relationship with the SVAA has resulted in is just better communication, better intra-club communication. It hasn't happened yet, but the Touring Tin Association of Alberta is looking at bringing their cars. They do a tour in the spring and the fall, and their cars are all 1935 or newer, or older, and they're originals. And they trailer them to a location within Alberta in the spring or the fall, and then they do 2 tours in that location. So I worked this spring with one of their gentlemen, and we've created the tours. They elected to go somewhere else. But Brooks is on the list for the Vintage Touring Association of Alberta to bring their cars in here. And we'll feature the irrigation district, actually. They like to see what's unique in the area. So we'll do a tour out to the old aqueduct and then go down to the Scandia Museum and stuff. So yeah, promote the area as much as we can. There's a power cruise, Western Canadian Power Cruise. We tried to influence them to come through Brooks. Unfortunately, they're not going to. They prefer back roads. It should be a big affair. There's 4 contingencies, one starting from Kelowna, one from Brandon, one from Grand Prairie, and one from Bonnyville.
What's a power cruise?
Pardon me?
What's a power cruise?
Sorry, I can't.
Oh, what's a power cruise? Like,
The power cruise is just a whole bunch of cars getting together for a cruise, and they're coming.
and they convoy,
Pardon me?
and they convoy down.
Yes, absolutely. So the 4 convoys are going to start from Kelowna, Brandon, Grand Prairie, and Bonnyville. And the closest one to us is going to go through Dutchess, actually. Dutchess is a fuel stop. So the Brooks contingency will be meeting them in Dutchess and then joining them on the trip down to Medicine Hat, where everybody's going to convene. So that Saturday, July 14th or 15th, I forget exactly what day it is, all those hundreds of cars should be in Medicine Hat in the area. So that's pretty cool. We're affiliated with the BCHS, so any money that we have left over or extra from the car show, we try and find something to contribute to the Brooks Composite High School automotive program, because that's really what we want to enhance, its interest in the automotive industry. So this year we created some taillight simulators. In their grade 10 class, they wire up a trailer as a wiring exercise. So we created 10 taillight simulators that they use. In the past, we've donated parts for a Pontiac that they were rebuilding. We bought 10 Briggs & Stratton engines for them in 2019. So we've had a partnership with BCHS for a long time. We have a volunteer that goes there 2 times a week and helps with the senior class. And that's actually resulted in an opportunity to adjudicate at Skills Canada Southeastern Zone. So Skills Canada is a competition for all the trades. And there's a regional competition in Medicine Hat, one in Edmonton for provincials. The next one is going to happen actually in Winnipeg, and then the winner of that goes to France next year. So through our affiliation with BCHS, we've actually had judges at both the Southeast Regional and at the provincial competition. One thing that happened recently that was totally off the books for all of us, we ended up on an email chain looking for vehicles for the new Jude Law movie, The Order. It's filming in Drumheller, and because people know our club and know we're anxious to help, we ended up being asked to provide some background vehicles. So on Wednesday, Thursday, there were 7 Brooks vehicles parked downtown Drumheller, simulating Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, for the movie The Order.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And that's the kind of thing I don't think that most people in town see the club doing. They'll see us doing our cruises, they'll see us doing our Friday night, but they don't realize that we're reaching beyond the county, beyond the area, and trying to promote Brooks and promote our club. Any questions or comments?
The car show in September, is that, that's that first Saturday in September then?
September 9th. It's
September
almost
9th.
the week after the long weekend.
Yeah, okay. I'm certainly glad that it's back downtown.
Yes.
I think especially on a Saturday, I've been, downtown on a lot of Saturdays, and it's pretty slow, whatever. And I think the response, even from the business community last year, was pretty positive that it was downtown, because it brought a lot of people, and there's a certain amount of atmosphere. I know you're not going to have the farmers market this year, but the food trucks and the music, it just adds a certain amount of ambience, and it just, it doesn't matter if you know anything about cars, but they're so, it's so nice to look and so elegant to look at those old vehicles there too. So I'm glad it's back downtown, and and I thank you for what you do in the community here, and I think you got to push for that vintage tour, because I think that'd be great for the city of Brooks here. So
I think it'll be very neat to see.
yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Idris.
Thank you. I look forward to attending in September. Do you have numbers for people who attend, like beside the drivers, and do you have a way to?
No, because it's a wide open venue, it's very hard to maintain any kind of counter numbers. Anecdotally, the streets were full. Like this, there was people on the streets for the full time the car show was going. So it was never an empty room. And chatting with some of the vendors that you would expect to see increased foot traffic that day. So places like the Brooks Hotel, the new store downtown that sells candy, those people, Steaming Cup, those kind of vendors. It was a good day for them.
Councillor Woodruff.
Thanks. I just wanted to give you a compliment. First of all, the event last year was fantastic. I am one of the people in the city who doesn't know a whole lot about vehicles and cars and stuff, but it was really fun. It was, your passion for what you do really comes out in the whole group, and it was a really fun event. Took my whole family, and it was bustling, and it was exciting. Those are the kinds of events that we like to see and we want to see more of. So again, just to echo Mayor Petrie and Councillor Idris, I really look forward to seeing it downtown again. And I also wanted to say I'm really glad that you came to present today. I did not realize the extent that you were involved in the community, even with the high school. So thank you. Yeah, I was really glad to hear all parts of your presentation, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think it was an education for us today, yeah, on what you guys do, besides just the car show itself, whatever, yeah, it was very, yeah, good information there, so. Thank you for your time this afternoon, yeah, and we look forward to the car show in September, yeah, and the cruise out in Dutchess there in July. Okay.
We'll be talking to you about sponsorship of a trophy shortly. here, so.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that again. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Jessica that the following items of correspondence be received as information updates on council conferences or workshops. The accounts payable listing and notes from the council committee, May 9th, 2023. I just got one thing to say there. I just want to say we had Municipal Involvement Day last Thursday there. A great group of students. I want to thank them and all those students who wrote essays. And I especially want to thank our staff here who toured them around. We had a lot of staff involved in the day. It was an excellent day. Councillor Idris was here for some of that. We had a great session here, and I want to thank administration for taking them through that session there. And I saw a lot of future politicians down the road. It was an excellent afternoon. They had some good questions and some good debates there too. So I just want to mention that there too. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Prentice that the week of June 5th, 11th, 2023 be hereby proclaimed as Seniors Week in the city of Brooks. And I should mention that Mr. Councillor Prentice has a birthday coming up tomorrow. Is that why you're making this motion here? Okay, Amanda.
Thank you. Good afternoon through the chair to mayor and council. June 5th through the 11th is Seniors Week in the province of Alberta. Seniors make a difference in our communities every day, from supporting family members and friends to assisting charities and volunteering. Seniors are deeply involved in our communities, and their contributions benefit Albertans of all ages. During this week, there'll be many activities planned throughout the province to acknowledge and appreciate those seniors who make a difference in our communities every day. Every year, Albertans are encouraged to join the festivities and by attending one of those many Senior Week events to be held across the province. And on this day, seniors within the city of Brooks will receive free entry into the JBS Canada Centre. And the Brooks Access Transit Service will be offering free rides all day to senior citizens as well. Our participation in the City of Brooks Seniors Week event will help highlight and show appreciation for the seniors in our community. Therefore, administration is recommending that June 5th through June 11th, 2023 be formally recognized as Seniors Week in the City of Brooks.
Okay, any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Wardrop that the month of June be hereby proclaimed as June is Recreation and Parks Month in the city of Brooks. Natasha.
Through the chair to mayor and council, the Alberta Recreation and Parks Association has recognized June is Recreation and Parks Month, JRPM.
I just talked loud enough, it sounded like the microphone was working. Do you want me to start over? No. Okay. So recreation and parks enriches quality of life for individuals, families, and communities. They enhance individual health and promote positive lifestyles, help people live happier and longer, and develop skills, positive self-image, and creativity. They also build family unity and social capital, strengthen volunteer and community development, enhance social interaction, create community pride and vitality, ensure ecological sustainability, help boost the economy and assist with economic recovery, and promote sensitivity and understanding of cultural diversity. Lots of benefits there. Community spaces have been highlighted for the important role they play in providing venues for physical and mental health. The Alberta Recreation and Parks Association has a number of activities planned for JRPM that include their theme #CelebrateJRPM, as they'll be focusing on discovering and celebrating the benefits of recreation and parks, and will be running another social media contest this year. Activity guide information will become available on their website in the coming weeks. As well, the local Community Choose Well committee will be meeting to plan and promote local activities to get moving outdoors. Some of the activities they have planned so far include a bike ride with the mayor, as well as a bike rodeo. Community members can follow the Brooks Choose Well social media pages to stay tuned, as there will be more to come, and citizens of Brooks are encouraged to visit and enjoy the many local recreation and park amenities that there are in the city and surrounding areas throughout the month of June in celebration of JRPM. Therefore, administration recommends that council proclaim June as Recreation and Parks Month in the city of Brooks.
Okay, any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that council support the Brooks Bandits 2023 World Junior A Challenge bid by providing the CRA and required staffing for the event at no cost, and further that a $25,000 contribution be provided and additional funding of a maximum of $50,000 be contributed, but only to the point that the event breaks even financially, and that the $75,000 be funded from the operating contingency reserve. Amanda.
Through the chair to mayor and council, the Brooks Bandits have submitted a request for support from the city in order to host the 2023 World Junior A Challenge in December of 2023. Excuse me. The challenge was founded in 2006 to give more exposure to players from across Canadian Junior Hockey League. The round-robin style tournament would bring international competition to Brooks, featuring the best Junior A players in the world, including 2 Canada teams, West and East, USA, Sweden, Finland, and possibly Czech, I don't know how to say that right, Czechia and Slovakia or Latvia. The occasion would mark the first time Brooks has hosted an international hockey event that wasn't a pre-tournament game to the world under 20s or world under 17s. The request includes exclusive use of the Centennial Regional Arena for 13 days, and there are some estimated costs attached, as well as a $25,000 grant and up to $50,000 in an initial guarantee against loss. It is estimated that the economic impacts would be similar to the 2019 National Junior A Championship and has surpassed $3 million for prior events. In addition, this will encourage Hockey Canada to consider Brooks for future larger scale events. The event will bring players, coaches, team staff, scouts, hockey fans, and parents of players to our community, giving the city and the Bandits the opportunity to showcase Brooks and the Brooks-Newell region to international visitors. Hockey Canada would have exclusive access to the CRA beginning December 6th for ice making and ending December 18th when that will be torn down. A minimum of 180 bookings at local hotels will occur for players, coaching staff, referees, and Hockey Canada officials, in addition to any visiting hockey fans and parents. TSN and RDS will broadcast the bronze and gold medal games on Sunday, December 17th, with all other games that will be streamed live by or at hockeycanada.ca. Therefore, administration is recommending that council support the Brooks Bandits 2023 World Junior A Challenge bid by providing the CRA and required staffing for the event at no cost, and further, that a $25,000 contribution be provided and additional funding of up to a maximum of $50,000 be contributed, but only to the point that the event breaks even financially, and that the $75,000 be funded from the operating contingency reserve.
Okay. Councillor, yeah, good enough.
I'd like to make an amendment to this motion, that it reads that council support the Brooks Bandits 2023 World Junior A Challenge bid by providing the CRA and requiring the staff for the event at no cost, and further that we would not contribute additional funds.
Okay.
That would be my motion.
Yeah. Any comments? Councillor Idris?
We need to deal with that first. So is there a seconder for that? Or we don't need a seconder?
We don't need a second.
We don't need it.
Okay.
So we are
Yeah,
discussing.
just, okay, give me the right, yeah, the right order, okay, so, yeah.
Okay,
So,
so.
do we vote on this or discuss it first? We discuss it.
No, we
Can have
discuss it. Yeah,
discussion,
yeah,
then
yeah,
we can
yeah.
vote.
So, my first question is actually, is this event happening regardless of our support or not?
Just to give you a little background, and maybe background for everybody here, Brooks made a bid for the 2024 and the 2025 Centennial Cup. The 2024 Centennial Cup went to Oakville, the 2025 went to Okotoks. We were sort of, I guess we're the leftovers. And so what they did, because of our success with the NJAC in 2019, they came back to Brooks asking if the Bandits would host this tournament, which would come up this December. So I think there's no guarantee that, I don't believe, and I think, Amanda, you were part of that meeting there, we all were the other night, I don't know if there's a definite, if we definitely got it, regardless of what happens. I think they're looking, you know, from support, you know, from the city and there. So I don't know if they have it for sure. That was a short answer.
So, do we know of, because it says here that like other previous events had surpassed 3 million in economic benefits. How was that? Is that in a specific community? Like
Yeah, and you know, when I look at the economic benefit, I think what they would look at, and you would have, would there be 5 teams coming here? Is that what it is? Five teams at, you know, 30 per team, you know, you know, and then, you know, they're staying at hotels and spending money and things like that. I think that's how they look at the economic benefit. I don't know if we have an actual, I think it becomes an arbitrary number that you sort of have to sort of break down, but I don't know if we have an actual documented thing and actually how much is generated in the community here. Go ahead, Amanda.
And one thing to remember too, it's not just that it's Brooks that surpassed that 3 million for prior events. I believe that it is also in relationship to other municipalities as well who have hosted.
Okay. Go ahead. Good enough?
Just to add to the comment for Councillor Dries, is that this is a different tournament than NJAC. And let's be clear on that. The Brooks Bandits organization was hosting, which is a town favorite, which is a very successful organization within the Alberta Junior Hockey League. This is the World Junior A's that, although in Cornwall, city of 46,000, they had good attendance. The gold medal game had just some stats, just around 3,000 people that did come out of a city of 46,000. We're not that size, I do believe. We're under that. So it is a different market. It's a different type of tournament. And this is a Hockey Canada event. This isn't a Brooks Bandit event. And we're not guaranteed that our players would even be in that tournament, although I believe all of them have a great caliber to do it. So that's my motion for that, reason for my motions.
Yeah, excellent points there. And it should be pointed out too, because I think last year we were fortunate to have, I think, 5 Bandits on the Team Canada West team. But it might be, because they're selected by certain criteria, there might not be any Bandits players, you know, on the one in 2023.
And the West did win bronze,
Yeah.
and the East did win, or lost to the U.S. for gold. So, you know, you don't know who could be in those finals.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Jessica?
Yeah, it's another issue, and if you're a hockey parent, it may mean more to you, but the timing is not great in that it would have a substantial impact on the regular minor hockey activities within the community.
Yeah. Yeah, the other one, I think, and then, I mean, we're opening the door, the Bandits, you know, can still go ahead with it. I know we're tapped out, you know, with a lot of volunteers for the Plus 55 Alberta Summer Games, and this one comes about 4 months later there too. So I don't know if that would be an issue for them. Maybe it's a different group of people, but they might be tapping into a lot of the same volunteers in that there too. Any other? Okay, to the motion. Oh,
look,
yeah.
For me, I was thinking that, like, being an international event, would that profile to the city be meaningful in the sense that, like, we were recently going to do the NJAC game, which is a national. This is like
The Centennial.
I thought this is a bigger event.
You know, personally, I don't think, I mean, and then I'm talking about my comments there, like, up until we were bidding for it, in all my whole life, I never even heard of it. You know, whereas the Centennial Cup has a 50-year history, you know, like, it's a big event. It's a major event, yeah. So I think that's the difference now. Yeah, Alan, yeah.
If I may, through the chair to mayor and council, Joel, I just want to see if I captured your amendment close enough. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that the motion be amended to read that council support the Brooks Bandits 2023 World Junior A Championship or World Junior A Challenge bid by providing the CRA and required staffing for the event at no cost, but provide no further financial assistance. Good.
Okay,
But that is something. We're contributing.
yeah, almost,
Oh, right, but, because we're redacting the previous motion, right? So I'm making that change, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so what we would be doing is amending the previous motion. So if you do accept that, what I just read, that the event, that we provide the CRA and staffing for the event at no cost and end it there.
and end it there.
If you accept that as a friendly amendment to your amendment.
Okay, semantics, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, to the amendment, okay. All those in favor? Okay. Carried. Yeah, well, yeah, to the motion as amended. Okay, do we have to go back then? We're,
No, just vote on the motion as amended.
okay, yeah, okay. Now we go back to the original motion to vote on the motion as amended. Okay, any other discussion on it? Okay, okay, your discussion or your voting? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, carried, okay. Okay, moved by Councilor Goodenough that that council formally adopt the new branding guidelines. Jordan?
In November of 2022, a proposal to refresh the city's branding was presented to Council Committee in an effort to keep the city's image fresh. After careful consideration, it was recommended that the proposed branding be reviewed by a focus group and gather input from the community. Staff established 5 target demographics to consult. This included business owners, high school students, seniors, new Canadians, and individuals from outside the city. Over 150 individuals were contacted seeking feedback, and staff received 34 responses. Attached to this report, you will find the focus group report, which summarizes the responses received from the focus group members. In response to this feedback, slight changes were made to the branding, and these can be found in the conclusion section. The updated branding guidelines, which outline accepted use, color combinations, font selections, and implementation suggestions, are also attached for council's review. Therefore, administration recommends that council formally adopt the new branding guidelines.
Okay, any questions? I think we talked about timelines. If you just go over the timelines, if we adopt this today, what's the timelines and how does it work out? When will we start seeing it?
So it's going to be a slow process, and as, say, for vehicles, public work vehicles that are around town, once we get new vehicles that come in, we will be updating the branding, the stickers on those. Instead of using the old crest, we'll be using the new logo that will be adopted. And then for the city website, that we have a redesign booked in 2024. So that's when the website's going to be changed over to include the new logo and the colors. And social media and documents for city use, they're also going to be updated, and that is just going to be over time. It's going to be a slow process implementing all these things, but yeah, if that answers your question.
Is there a slow process, like to introduce it, or do you do a big sort of a formal presentation to introduce it then to the public?
We don't have plans to do a introduction of the logo other than through social media, just saying this is our new brand, and specifically saying that we're not replacing the city's crest as well. That's a huge part in this.
Okay. Okay. Any other, Councilor Goodenough?
Thank you. On page 16, of your brand identity, logo misuse. So you have do's and don'ts. I'm just curious about the third option there where it's placed on an image. Obviously, it doesn't stand out at all. And I'm just curious with marketing today, it seems like there is a lot of images that we use, even in some of the displays that you presented with some of our staff members or people. How do you propose then that logo will be used on image pictures?
So it'd just be over busy photos. There's images that say there's a sky up above, and there's not a lot of stuff happening up there. That's where you would place the logo.
Okay.
You want to find the spots that are not super busy. And if this is the case for this photo on page 16 of the brand guidelines, you would place a color over top, and it's called opacity of that color. You would lower or raise the opacity so there is a slight color behind it, and that makes the logo pop a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Wardrop?
Just a couple things for clarification. You did say something at our last meeting about signs, so this will be going on the kind of smaller, like the smaller signs coming in on the east and west side, like east and west entrances of town, is that correct?
Yes, that is something that we have discussed, and it just comes down to a budget item in the future if we are going to replace those signs as well.
And then also, you said, like, as we purchase new vehicles, like to add to the fleet, that's when you'd put on the new stickers? Or are you going to also just take the old stickers off of those vehicles and just have them all?
That might have to be
No logo.
another budget item. That's not something that we budgeted last year. So in the future, if we do feel there's a need for it, we will. But at this point, it's only going to be once we get new vehicles, just because it's already part of the process. Instead of putting the old sticker on, we're going to be putting a new sticker on.
It would be nice, and I agree with you that if we did it, I know it's a budget item, but we can maybe discuss it in the fall, is to do everything at once. So, and I know the other part of it is a slow process, but if we had all our city vehicles, with the logos on there, all at the same time, just, to have consistency, with that.
And kind of alluding to what you said, Mayor Petrie, it could be like a celebration, something exciting, right? Like keeping Brooks fresh, right? This is cool, this is modern. I think it sends a positive message, right? People passing through and to our residents, and it could be an opportunity that we could take to celebrate our fun, modern, fresh city.
Look, yeah. Okay. Any other comments? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Idris that council award the JBS Canada Centre Fitness Centre roof replacement to Waterproofing Roofing Limited for the total amount of $222,605 plus GST. Todd.
This one? Through the chair and to the mayor and council, on April 7, 2023, staff received 7 proposals in response to the JBS Canada Centre Fitness Centre roof replacement request for tender posted on the Alberta Purchasing Connection. The tenders are as follows. Waterproofing Roofing Limited at a Lethbridge, $222,605. Plato Superior Roofing at a Medicine Hat, $237,684. CNH Roofing Limited at a Lethbridge, $269,967. Peerless Building Products at a Medicine Hat, $325,976. Flynn Canada Limited at a Rocky View, $370,919. Atlas Apex Roofing at a Rocky View, $485,947.59. And the 7th one was Truecraft Roofing out of Calgary for $499, $945 plus GST. So staff evaluated the tenders based on the criteria of cost, delivery time, product type, product supply and availability, reference checks and warranty. 2 tenders scored really well. However, waterproofing roofing limited out of Lethbridge is more favorable tender due to the lowest pricing, reference checks, product and warranty. The approved budget for the JBS Canada Center roofing replacement was, for 2023, was $325,770. However, the total project cost will be $225,935 due to the following add-ons. $500, we had to get a core sample for the roof, and then $2,830 for a roofing consultant. The independent roofing consultant is to inspect the roof project 5 times during the installation and to ensure work is done correctly to aid and validate the warranty. Therefore, staff recommends that council award the JBS Canada Center roof replacement to Waterproof Roofing Limited out of Lethbridge for the total amount of $222,605 plus GST.
Okay, any comments or questions? When would the work start and finish? And just the warranty is for how many years again?
It's a 10-year warranty through the Alberta Roofing Associations, and it's the warranty is good for 10 years. It's all-inclusive, and the roof is supposed to be 20 to 40 years lasting, and we're hoping to have it done by September.
Oh, okay, this year then, perfect, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Moved by Councillor Wardrop that council accept the 2023 Canada Day celebration update as information. Welcome back, Natasha. Turn on your mic.
There, I got it this time. All right, through the chair to mayor and council, City of Brooks has a proud tradition of providing an excellent Canada Day celebration for all members of the community to celebrate Canada's rich heritage. This celebration will consist of a range of entertainment and hospitality options, such as professional acts, music, inflatables, and a free barbecue lunch, followed by a movie in the park and, of course, fireworks. Some differences this year include disc golf kits that can be used at Meadow Lake Course, cornhole board games, llamas from White Barn Fun Farm, and no cake. Unfortunately, due to the funding changes and lack of volunteer support for the Brooks and District Museum, they are not in a position to provide cake this year. Staff continue to work on plans for the 2023 Canada Day celebration and intend to bring back past favorites with the help of the Celebrate Canada Day grant, in-kind donations from local partners, and sponsorships from local businesses, helping to make this event possible. We look forward to another Canada Day in the Park celebration in the City of Brooks and hope to see both City Council and members of the community in attendance. Therefore, administration recommends that Council accept the 2023 Canada Day celebration update as information.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Idris.
How much is this cake?
How much is the cake?
No, how big?
Like how much actually?
I don't have the exact cost because it was always provided by the museum. However, there were large slabs of cake, and I think actually last year was a little bit of a mess, but I mean it's still good in taste. But that's yeah. So the county isn't providing it. Are you offering up an in-kind donation, Councillor Idris?
Like I'm thinking. Like if it's not a big budget item, we should just have cake.
Yeah, and just to add, and I know I'll go to you in a second.
And I was going to talk about the breakfast.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go to Councillor Jessica first, and then we'll go back, and we can kind of. Okay, go, Councillor Jessica.
So I believe the museum we got a grant for the cake, so it's not the cost of the cake. It's they got their feet cut out from under them for staffing. They got almost none of the grants they normally get for people to work at the museum, so they are looking at having to cut the hours as it is. So that's probably the big issue. It might be worthwhile to contact them and see if they still can arrange the funding for the cake if someone else is prepared to serve it.
Okay, I'll go, yeah, your way. Councillor Idris there.
So there was some discussions at Rotary last week regarding the breakfast, and my understanding was that the museum because of lack of volunteers and commitments, we're having a difficult issue with that. So the Rotary Club was suggesting that in terms of manpower, they can volunteer. They can. So if there is a way to bring the pancake breakfast back, can the city, the Rotary Club, and maybe even some other groups do something about it and see if it could be brought back? So.
Yeah, and we talked about that. The breakfast was such a big event in the community there, and I think the numbers, and John, you might remember, like about 3,500 people, and it was just such a lively event, you know, and it really represented our different cultures there too, you know, for Canada Day too. So I would like, if there's a way, you know, we can bring the breakfast back. I know the Rotary, we talked about it with Rotary Club, and you know, get the councillors, and I think you were asking the councillors, I know like even to flip the burgers, and you know, we'll make sure. The thing about the breakfast, and I want to just mention it to you, Natasha, I think when we talk about this, I don't want to put any extra onus on the city staff, because you're busy enough basically looking after all the events of the rest of the day. But if the Rotary Club, and maybe there's a few other organizations in town that could get involved, you know, with that, we could still do the breakfast, and we don't have to do it at the museum. You know, we could, because the tables and everything are out at the Duke of Sutherland Park. You know, we could do, you know, we could do the breakfast in the morning. You know, have a little break there, and then you know, and then you got your burgers and everything in the afternoon, and the other events in the afternoon there too. Go ahead, Councillor Nesbitt.
Mr. Mayor, I believe the barbecue or the cooking barbecues are at the museum in their garage there. I believe there's 6 of them there.
Yeah.
So they do store them there, and I know they would graciously let us use them. It's staffing is a big problem, and of course the money it costs to do it.
Yeah.
If you can get a good group to volunteer, I'm sure it's even fine at the museum.
Go ahead, Councillor Goodenough. Yeah.
When I served on the museum committee, because I know we've had COVID and we haven't done it for a few years, but I do believe it takes about 13 to 15 volunteers, not including the council, that did all the because we would do the cooking portion, but from the setting up of the tables, and you know, they had the teddy bear find and different things, events that took place also at the museum, also their tractor tours and stuff like that. But I think that if, you know, with council and finding a couple community groups like Rotary, and we could reach out to a few others, I think we could really pull this off and make it a great success. So, yeah. And we just need to talk to the management at the museum to see if we can use their griddles.
Yeah.
And make sure they're clean. And I also know that they have lots of supplies in their back room of pancake mix, so they're heavy bags.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Woodrup.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree. I think there's got to be a solution here. We can bring back the breakfast. We can get the cake. It's such a great event, and yeah, it brings the whole community together. Again, about the cake, is the issue the staffing or the cost?
Well, I've asked Jerry to let me know about the cake, but my understanding was the cake, cost of the cake.
Turn on your mic
covered
there, Ray.
The staffing is.
Ray, turn on your mic.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, so the staffing is a big issue, like, you know, they're talking about volunteers, but a lot of the work was done by the students that they hire through the summer, and they didn't get the grant funding for I think they got for 2, and for a lesser period in time, and usually you would apply and get for maybe 10 or 12 people, so they got cut bad.
You know, and it goes back to our conversation last week about WIC, whatever. I would love to see the different groups in the community, the Filipino Association, you know, the different ethnic groups come out and help. Like, even if we had 3 or 4, you know, volunteers from each of those communities to, you know, flip pancakes, you know, and I've done pancakes, you know, for 25 years. And when people do, I mean, people have a great time, you know, especially if you've never done it before. Yeah. So go ahead, Councillor Idris.
So in terms of volunteers, I mentioned Rotary, but I actually also talked to our office, and we can bring volunteers, maybe like up to 10 volunteers or so for that. So I think it's about figuring out if the cost is the issue, how can we figure that out?
Okay.
Actually, the cost in adding work to the city staff, like if that's going to be a challenging thing, moving it or doing.
Through the chair to all of council. Might I suggest keeping it at the museum? Just from experience, typically the grounds at the Duke of Sutherland are extremely busy as we get ready. Contractors are showing up with the inflatables. We have 4 to 6 inflatables every year. We're setting up the stage, so there is equipment coming and going all over the grounds as we're bringing things in and getting ready for the 12 to 4 time. So it is a busy time. So just from personal experience, I think having it not interfere with the setup to make sure that we can still provide that consistent, Canada Day celebration from the Duke of Sutherland again. I think it would be ideal to, allow us to be able to kind of move around as we could.
Okay, Councillor Goodenough.
How about the fire hall? No, I just joking. No, I saw them. Just see if you're awake. Yeah, I don't know if the museum's interested in hosting it in that regard.
Yeah.
I won't speak to that, but is it possible that at the JBS Canada Centre?
The JBS Canada Centre is closed until 3 to 8, so we only offer kind of that time outside of the event because it's all hands on deck. For the Recreation Department, quite a bit of Parks Department, and as many volunteers as possible to try to make it happen. So it's only open 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Are you looking to just do the parking lot
Well, I thought
there?
if we could just do it on the rec center floor, right?
But, Councillor Goodenough, the other option, I mean, we got 2 ball diamonds there.
We do. Yep.
And I that wouldn't interfere with what you
Okay.
do because your
Yeah.
stuff is outside the ball diamonds. There's a lot of room on the 2 ball diamonds, and they're never used that day. I don't think. Well, by
This year.
by the time our breakfast would be done, it'd be done by.
It would be
11 o'clock,
sooner.
but I can't remember.
It would be sooner, but you'd still be bringing the tables into the fields, if that's.
Yeah, well, that's a logistic we can work out later.
Absolutely, yeah.
On that, whatever. But it would be nice, to have it all together. You could do the breakfast in the morning, your event in the afternoon, fireworks.
If it's in the fields, there's still going to be quite a bit of people crowd controlling while we have kind of like those contractors trying to bring in the inflatables
Yeah.
coming on the grounds.
Yeah.
So it would be difficult to manage. But as you're saying, it's a logistics thing. So just figuring out how you guys are going to make that happen.
Yeah, we have to get all our bodies on board here, a commitment for that there. Councillor Wardrop, yeah.
Kind of a question, like a logistical question, but I'm curious. I know volunteers are hard to come by. Are we reaching out to these different groups, or are we just waiting for people to volunteer?
We're absolutely reaching out
Okay.
to a lot of the groups. We've made some other attempts to try to sprinkle some more fun on the service that we provide this year, but sometimes we are met with just disinterest. And our community works very hard to bring a lot of services and user groups for recreation. So it's one more ask of a lot of the partnerships that we have. So yes, we definitely are reaching out to groups specifically wherever we can. And if you have any volunteers in mind that are interested, please send them my way.
Well, I think.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Just on that note too, I think there's quite a number of people, even just in this room, that would have a few groups just top of mind. Maybe we should share that information before we.
And the way I see this going is if we do the breakfast, it's a separate entity from the city. All we're doing is being on city property there. That way, like I had mentioned, I don't want to put any extra pressure or any onus on city staff for that. We would look after that. I think as the Rotary Club would take charge of that, they would look after the volunteers, contact the Filipino Association, the Ethiopian Association, those things like that. And by 11 o'clock, that would be all done, and then your event gets going right after that. And not to interfere, and we don't want to interfere with anything that you're doing, but again, those are logistics on that. Councillor Goodenough, then, yeah.
I also think that maybe if we did come back with a concrete plan to the museum, they might be more than willing to let us use the grounds. Because now you said that, logistics of those things, that lineup of 3,500 people does get pretty long. And but maybe we can talk to them and saying we've got a good team in place. And and the reason why I said that is because one of the things that we did with the pancake breakfast years ago was it was part of their membership drive, and people would buy memberships at that time too. So it's just one extra thing that helps the museum.
Yeah,
And many of the counselors are helping with the barbecue, so you just walk right across.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
we'll put yet another grill.
We're just going from pancakes to burgers. Yeah. Anybody else have anything on that? Okay, I'm going to go to the motion. All those in favor? Carried, okay. Questions from the media? Sandra?
Thank you. I was going to ask about the pancake breakfast, but I've decided not to for now. In regards to the Bandit's proposal, or the Bandit's motion, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get that proper motion from Mr. Martins after this meeting, but I believe the total donation, contribution by the city will be $7,660. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I think it was in the notes there. If you look through the notes, go ahead there. Amanda will give you the exact answer.
Sure, so looking at the valuation, it's down at the bottom, has been figured out. It is all there written out for you. Yeah, it'd be the $7,660, I believe.
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor Prentice that the meeting adjourn at 5:41 p.m. All those in favor? Carried.